I really enjoyed it tonight. Yeah. I think because the weather was slightly better than the last time we did Cryle, it really made a difference. And I think a lot of people, you know, kind of stay in that middle area, the main arena.
A little bit more
yeah, it was cool. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Everything's really good. I mean, we're quite lucky where we are at home because we're down in the south coast, right on the south coast. So we've got a big catchment area. So we're still doing great numbers. You know, we're the busiest weekly club in the country by miles. And I think part of it, yeah, we don't really have any competition like in the Midlands where God's Kitchen and so on and so forth, Gatecrasher, Passion. They're all kind of closed together within a 50-mile radius, kind of right in the middle there. So we're lucky we don't really have that down on the south coast. So we have a good catchment and we have great crowds and always great nights. I think just the way the scene's grown probably over the past 7 or 8 years, a lot of the clubs and the events we're doing at home, I mean, music's really, it's a global thing, you know, it does break down boundaries. I mean, we've done gigs from the Great Wall of China to Red Square in Moscow, and, you know, so it's been interesting to kind of be a part of it and to see it happen. But yeah, I think really, you know, rave music or dance music of the 90s is only the same as your rock music of the 80s, you know, or your different genres in your different eras. I just think it's the youth of today. This is what we have, and when you look back, when we were all 40 and 50, we look back as the 90s or the 2000s as they are now. That's just the era of dance music. I've teamed up with Scott Bond, who Scott's left Gatecrasher now, and myself and Scott have always kind of worked together in the past, so we're working on a number of projects. But with this one, it's a typical club night in Bournemouth where Tim, who's the other resident, Tim Lyle, he would play more like the breaks and house kind of warm up, early doors, you know, nice and kind of, it's got a groove to it, nice and chilled. Then we would go more into the trancey sort of stuff, which would be disc 2. Then the harder stuff at the end of the night, which is obviously disc 3. So I think it's a broad spectrum trying to encapsulate what we do in Bournemouth. We're finishing off with, we kind of did a global tour with it. So we started in South America. Before we came here, we did America and North America. And we go back, do a couple of dates in Asia on the way home from here. Got one more week here. Then yeah, Singapore and what have you on the way home. So it's been good. That's album number 12 now, so kind of getting on a bit. We've been, I mean, pretty much all over the world now. From Brazil, we do monthlies down there, to Singapore, to China, South Africa. We're in South Africa in January. Australia and New Zealand's always great. I think the scene's really developed here. So, but I mean, we've done stuff in like Bosnia, Serbia, like real bizarre places that you would never think. You know, you would never think there's a scene or there's music there, because obviously there's all the wars and all that stuff going on, but, you know, people still want to go out and listen to music and have a good time at the end of the day. So Mauro Picotto, a good friend of mine, he still comes down and plays for us. Obviously people like your Lashes, Ferry, Armin. Got Paul van Dyk there at the start of next year. So what you find now with your Van Dyks and Tiestos, because they are now kind of literally like one-man rock bands, they're touring with people like, you know, Moby and that, so they're not really doing so many smaller club gigs. So, but yeah, we get like a couple of Van Dyk dates a year and one Tiesto date. So, but yeah, pretty much all the big boys still come and play for us. I remember the first time I came was with Gatecrasher at Melbourne Docks for Future Entertainment. Yeah. I think it was the last party at the Docks, and that was I was surprised at that. I didn't think that would be as good as it was, but you know, I've done that. You've got 2 tribes in Melbourne, which I've done, which has always been, you know, that's another great gig. And I think really you're pretty much, you're getting towards where the UK is. You know, you're a lot further developed than the States and South America. Australia and Canada are quite similar with the scenes and where they're at. So, but yeah, it's really positive to see. I mean, we all love coming down. Obviously, you've got the weather as well. So. I mean, we do the large events. New Year's Eve, we've got Shepton Mallet, which is, we've teamed up with a company called Slammin' Vinyl, that they do a lot of kind of hardcore and drum and bass, and they've got brands like One Nation and Hardcore Heaven. And it's a similar vibe to this. It's a big 10,000 people capacity event. We did it on Halloween and that was great, it was sold out. We're doing it again New Year's Eve. But trying to get away from the commercial aspects of it and keep it nice and underground. And I think that's where the scene will go in the UK. It'll go back to its roots and get away from like the Radio 1 and the kind of, you know, the hype and the bollocks that go with that, and getting back to the grassroots of kind of where it all started. With ourselves, we'll probably look at an album the back end of next year. We're looking at it at the moment, but myself and Scott with our schedules, we'll sit down in January and see where we get to.